Hey guys, Paul Pro Scale Models. Welcome to another build series. Today we're going to be building Alfa Model's 124th Mercedes AMG GT3 Black Series. So yes, I got this kit a while ago from Alfa Models. I didn't review it. I don't know why. I've no idea why. I normally do review them. We're going to have a quick look through the box very quickly at the start of this video. It looks a great kit as always. Typical quality from Alfa. Great looking car as well. I've always liked the GT3. And it's going to be a nice one too. Picked a really interesting colour for this. I found an online reference to a real car. And that's what I'm using. So that is what we're going to do today. So yeah, we're here. Two-part series. As you know, all these builds are reduced to 2 parts now. Cutting out a lot of the stuff you've seen me do billions of times. If you want to see anything in depth, you can go back through all the videos and have a look maybe. But loads on the go. I'm a bit behind on the video editing at the minute as well. I'm a couple of months behind on some of these builds. So bear with me because it's been a hectic beginning of the year for us here. And it has had a detrimental effect on the videos. So just bear with me. I've got loads in the pipeline to catch up on. And as you can see, there's a BMW on the bench there being worked on as well. So you're going to see that. You won't see it as a video series though, it's a build just from me, but you'll see it finished on my social media. Speaking of which, if you want to become a patron, there's a link down below. You get early access on all the videos. You get a patron exclusive bench update every week. You get 10% off of Pro Scale paints. You get added to a Facebook group. There's a Facebook Messenger chat group you can get added to. Like I say, you get 3 months early access on these videos, so you'll really keep up to speed with them. Links down below, as well as links to everything else associated with me. Associated with me. Anyway, let's crack on with the build. Right then, so the Mercedes AMG GT Black Series. So, kit I've been waiting for a while. Got one. Didn't do a review of it. I don't know why, if I'm honest. So we're going to have a quick look through the box here. So, a fantastic array of decals here. You got the beautiful Petronas scheme with its stars, which is a really nice scheme. We've got full carbon for the exterior as well. You've got your typical Alfa model instructions, which I say in the loosest sense of the term. And a whole plethora of photo etch and resin parts with the kit. Now, picking the colour for this one, a bit difficult, but we got there in the end. We're going with magma orange. So I nearly said the wrong colour then. So loads of PE with the kit, as you can see, typical standard of Alfa model. We've got our clear acetate parts, some metal badges as well, as you can see just there. Some really nice resin wheels and very nice treaded tyres with no brand on, unfortunately. We've got some 3D printed parts as well, which is quite a nice addition, and a beautiful, beautiful resin body, which is flawlessly finished. Absolutely stunning. There's a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of rescribing here and there, but overall a really nice, clean resin body. So starting off, familiarise yourself with the kit, make sure everything's there. Very important step. Go through the whole kit and the instructions and tick everything off. Now on the front end here, these panel lines weren't very well defined. And the only way to really rectify that is with a razor saw. So very gently following the contour of the line that's already there, we're just going to continue on and infill the rest. And for the rest of it, where the panel lines are already well defined, we're just going to clean them out and just make them a little bit deeper with our scribing tool. Mine's a Holly. It's a 0.2mm, I think it is, 0.2mm one. And all we're doing is just slightly deepening them and basically just clearing out any muck or debris that may be in there. So later on down the line, we put a panel wash in. It all looks nice and uniform. For things around the filler cap, we've got this Hasegawa scribing tool, an invaluable tool recommended to me by my buddy Brandon. Absolutely brilliant. And then we're going to clean off all the parts and get them ready for primer. So basically everything that's going to be painted or decaled and then cleared, I'm going to do in this stage. It's the first step of every build I do. I always get through the body first. So these 3D printed parts have got support. So I'm going to cut all those off very gently because they are quite delicate. Once we've got all those cut off, we're going to clean them up with various sanders from sticks, sponges and whatnot from Ultimate. Just so we've got nice clean resin. You need to be very careful here because resin is delicate, and just clean it all up so it's nice and uniform. Get rid of all those supports and any imperfections that might be in there. Now you do get the poured resin as well as the 3D printed resin. I think the 3D printed resin is slightly better quality, so that's what I went for. I've seen other people build this and poured spoilers. The non-3D printed resin has been terribly warped, so pick the best of the worst if that's the case in the box. Now once we're ready, we're going to key all the surface of the body up. So we've got a Tamiya 3000 grit sponge here, 2000 grit sponge, and we're going to go all over the body and just key it all up. Now what this does is put thousands of micro abrasions in the finish and just gives the primer more to adhere to. Getting resin primed can be a bit of a challenge. You need to give it the best fighting hope it can, because the primer can't etch itself to plastic as it does to resin. So make sure it's still really keyed like this and degreased. And our Pro Scale degreaser is probably one of the best ones you'll get. It's an alcohol-based degreaser, and with kits like this, with all various nooks and crannies, I like to pour a little bit into the lid, an old toothbrush, and get in every single nook and cranny with the toothbrush, clean it all out, and get a nice clean bit of kitchen paper, kitchen towel, and dry it all off. Now you're going to go fingerprints while you're handling it, so until you get it mounted on the stand, you might have to give it a re-wipe over later, but we'll just get rid of all the mold release or any nasties that might be on the body. Now because it's alcohol based, it does evaporate away, so quick wipe over some tissue, we get rid of any excess, and there we go. We've got a perfectly keyed and degreased, prepared body ready for primer, and this is the best way you can do. Don't forget, every stage has a purpose, and this is to achieve the best possible finish we can. Now these are our new 3D printed paint stands we've got in stock at Pro Scale. This is the prototype I was testing out. They come in like a dark grey colour now, which may vary over time, and it's full adjustable for length. You can switch the ends as well to give different heights, different ends. I'm using some 3M sticky pads. These are the perfect mount for resin kits and plastic as well. So if you figure out where you're going to mount and extend the ends where needed, all you got to do is twist the base to undo and twist it back up to tighten it. You can extend the ends. This thing is absolutely perfect, and it's really well weighted as well. Even these really heavy resin bodies on, the chance of knocking these over is very, very slim. Really well made, and like I say, we sell these over on Pro Scale. So this is the very first prototype I received that I was testing, an absolute game changer. Remember my old system? It was a manky old bottle with some wooden tongue depressors on. Bit precarious at times. I did knock a few bodies over on it. And the great thing is with this, you can alter the bounce point as well. So you just figure it out and slide it back or forth until you've got the perfect center like so. And there we go. And look, not going to fall over easy. Well weighted. Absolutely perfect. The perfect stand for painting and decaling bodies and whatnot. So over in the spray booth, we've got a Tamiya anti-static brush. We're going to give it a quick wipe over to get rid of any dust or debris still left on the body. And then we'll give it a blow over with just air from the airbrush. And we can get it primed. So because we're going with orange, we're going to go with, I think it was white primer. It was Pro Scale Paints white primer. Using our microfiller primer here. So a lacquer-based microfiller primer, just several light coats building up, especially with white. The lighter the colour, the thinner the coats, because it's so easy to flood. You want that first mist coat down, let that dry, and that's your base then for the rest of it. And just go around, getting all those nooks and crannies, wheel arches, sills, in and around the windows, headlights, everywhere. Now this is a microfiller primer. It's going to dry with a bit of texture. The idea of that is it will infill any micro imperfections in the body, so anywhere you may have missed with a slight sander mark or whatnot, this will help infill those imperfections, and literally run over it with a Tamiya 3000 sponge once it's done, and it'll be as smooth as the proverbial smooth thing. It is super smooth when it's done, and it will give us our perfect base for our paint colour, which we'll get to in a bit. So this is the first coat going down. We'll let it flash off for 5 minutes between coats. And after about 4 coats, as you can see here, we've got a beautifully white prime body. We'll let that dry for a good hour or two. I would recommend 6 hours plus, but after an hour or so, you should be safe to go. And what we're going to do, once we've got everything primed, let it dry, we'll come back with a sponge and flat it all back. So as you can see, getting all the nooks and crannies on this car, quite a challenge because there are a lot of angles to come from. Really good looking car, these. I do enjoy these. Out of interest, if you want to see a real life one of these built up and crash damage, if you go to YouTube, watch a guy called Chris Slicks, Chris, and it's S-L-I-X. He bought one of these crash damage, put a Temu body kit on it, and it looked absolutely phenomenal. It really did. You can find them on YouTube if you go and have a look. So there we go, all primed, let it dry. We've keyed it back with a Tamiya 3000 sponge, and we're ready for paint now. So we've got our perfectly prepped body now. And we've got Pro Scale paint from myself and Hannah. This is Magma Orange. Absolutely beautiful colour. It is a factory colour for this car. I found an online reference and thought, yep, that's the colour for me. So several light coats of this. So we put the primer through with our Iwata Revolution CR3. And this is the same airbrush again, 20 psi, several light coats of primer, and then we're going to come back in with probably eight or 9 coats of paint. Nice thin coats. We don't want to put these on heavy at all. No wet coats whatsoever. Just nice light thin coats. Concentrating on getting in all those nooks and crannies rather than getting it all covered in one go. It's going to take you several coats of paint. It will build up slowly. But get all those nooks and crannies, wheel arches, the windows, the grills, any recesses, until you're happy you go everywhere filled. And what we'll do, we'll let it flash off 5 minutes between coats, and we'll alternate from left and right passes to up and down, and that will ensure we get full coverage on that body. Our paints are pre-thinned for use. They're not over thin, so they cover really well. They're very finely pigmented. Even our metallics are all formulated for modelers. There's no huge pigments in our paints. They are just absolutely beautiful, really easy to work with. As long as you shake the bottle well, put nice light coats down, allow 5 minutes between coats for it to flash off, you'll be good to go. So there we go. After a couple of coats, that's how we're looking. So you can see the coverage building up absolutely beautiful here. We're using a proper spray technique as well, apart from around those little vents there. I was just giving it a little bit of extra pizzazz, if you want to call it that. Pizzazz? That's an unusual word, isn't it? But anyway, plenty of pizzazz around there. Just to ensure we get it in all those little nooks and crannies, because it is quite difficult to get coverage sometimes in areas like that. And after, what are we now? About 9 coats in, I'm just having a quick look. Looks like we've got pretty good coverage there. I've got a little bit of fluff that's just attached itself to the back. So be very careful, and it's just on top, it will wipe off. Just be very gentle, don't be too rough. And just have a look and make sure you've got equal coverage everywhere. Every nook and cranny is done. There's no little faded spots where you've not quite got enough paint. And to me, that's looking really, really good. So very happy with that. We'll put that to one side, let that dry overnight before we do any decaling. And in the meantime, we've cleaned up all the other resin parts as well. I've not shown this. You've seen me clean up parts God knows how many times now. You don't need to see me keep cleaning up parts. We use various sanders to clean up the resin. With the Alpha Model kits, the resin is so clean anyway, there's very little cleaning up to do. And they're mostly mounted on their pour stubs for you to spray. So really nice and simple. So we're using some Mr. Surfacer 1500 here to prime anything that's going to be black or metallic, and then it's going to be a colour depending on the brightness of the colour. It'll either be primed in white Mr. Surfacer or grey. It all depends. But it's just several light coats working your way around. For priming smaller parts like this, I like to use my Iwata HPC Plus. Just it's a bit more of a finer spray pattern. We don't need to hose any paint on here. We're only painting little parts. But several coats of primer, probably 2, 3 at a push, probably I do. A primer, let it flash off for 5 minutes between coats, and it's more than enough. Now, I don't tend to degrease the smaller parts. You can if you wish. I don't tend to. Now, the photo etch we've all cut off and cleaned up as well and mounted it ready for paint. And we're going to prime this with ProScale's Photo Etch Primer. This is an etch primer that will etch itself to the metal. It sprays absolutely beautiful. It dries near enough instantly. It's almost instantly dry, and it won't clog up your grills or any recesses. It is super, super fine, and it just sprays absolutely beautiful. And literally, by the time you spray one part and come back, it's dry. It dries super, super quick. Now, we are going to paint the roof black because we're going to carbon the roof in a bit. So I thought to make life easier, so you don't get any orange sticking through, I'm going to paint the roof white, black, not white. So using various Tamiya tapes, we're just going to mask it up in preparation for the black. We'll have to mask it up later on for the window surrounds as well. We've got quite a bit of carbon on the kit, which thankfully, as I showed earlier on, is pre-cut. That saves us a lot of hassle It's always nice to get pre-cut carbon in the kit. It saves a lot of mucking around, and it really does make the build more enjoyable. So with that masked up, we've got some Pro Scale Deep Black, which is literally the deepest black you'll see. It's a beautiful colour, and you could probably get away with not doing this, but I think the roof rails on the edge need to be black anyway, and then the carbon goes inside that. So I thought I might as well do it in one go, and we'll do the rear boot and the spoiler and whatnot, and the window surround at the same time. So yeah, I thought we'll get it done all together rather than doing it later on and whatnot. So yeah, that's it. With several coats of that done. Blip off camera, excuse me. You can see there we've got beautiful black colour on all those upper surfaces. So just to ensure you got full coverage. With parts like this, we've got bright colour like the orange. Make sure you're getting all those nooks and crannies, those panel lines as well. It's very easy to miss them, and just make sure your masking is fully burnished down. With that unmasked, it is absolutely perfect. So very careful masking. Again, when you're masking things, make sure you fully detack the tape on the back of your hand. Just to ensure it's not overly sticky and doesn't start pulling paint off. Like I say, this is resin. It's very easy to pull paint off resin. So with that done, we've got the pre-cut carbon roof panel. So that's been in water for a minute or so. And then we'll pop it off, get it in place. And this, I'm going to show a couple of decals going down, but it's the same process for them all. So we've got the decal roughly in place. As you can see, we are going to get wrinkles. So our job now is to work out those wrinkles. So slowly getting all the moisture out from underneath the decal. We're just working around it with a cotton bud. We've used our brush to get rid of the most of it, and then using the cotton bud on the edges to get rid of the rest. It's a skill that you're going to pick up over time. This is not something you're going to get instantly. It takes a delicate but firm touch to do, and don't be afraid to use your finger as well. Bit of a dodgy saying anyway, but be careful what you say that sentence. Heat is your friend here. Heat and decal solutions. So I've got the Ultimate Decal Solutions there, which are by far the best ones on the market. I developed those. They are fantastic. And we've got my Amazon heat gun here, and just gently heating the decal. And while it's warm and being set by the decal solutions, we can use our cotton bud to gently persuade the decal to lay down. Now, if you're not overly confident with your decals, scan the decal sheet with your printer at full size, and that way if you muck it up, you've got a perfect template to cut out later on. Now, I found a little bit long on the back, so a fresh blade in my scalpel is going to cut off the excess. If I remember right, I think I had to cut a little bit off those rails as well on the side. I forget now. I'm a bit behind on the builds. This was a couple of months ago, this build now. So things get away with you. I'm quite a few builds behind at the minute. You also may find as well, if a moistened cotton bud, heat it up a touch, and if you've got any wrinkles that are being stubborn, the hot water on the end of the cotton bud can actually help it set in place. So it will go excruciatingly hot, so just be very careful. But just a little bit of burnishing can get rid of a stubborn crease that may be there. It might not work for everything, but it's always worth a go. And then with a final go over with the brush, just going to push it all into that panel line on the roof rail, and let the decal solutions just set it all in place. So we've got the roof to do. We've got decals on the bonnet. These are tricky to do, these ones. These were a bit of a pig, because you've got this big section. There's a smaller section to go in as well. So take your time here. Real life references of the real car are very, very useful for this, just so you can see how things go. But just take your time. Like I say, if you're not confident, scan the decal on your printer, and then you can print it off and use it as a full-size template if needed. Spoiler, pretty simple to do. It's a case of getting it in place, get all the moisture out, get the decal solutions on, hit it with heat again. Now don't forget with the heat, you are using it on resin, and resin does go quite malleable and soft with heat, so just take your time. Front splitter, quite a tricky one this. This took a bit of fettling to get in place. But just sit with it, don't be panicking. You've got loads of time to work with the decal. If you start taking your time, you start panicking, just re-moisten the decal. Put a bit more water on it, and it'll give you a bit more working time. Don't go full strength decal solution straight away. Start off with the weakest one. Use the brush and just work at it slowly till it's gone. Don't go full strength. It will destroy the decal and won't let you to get it set. Slowly, slowly on this is the job. Use the heat and the cotton buds and the lesser powered decal solutions to get it in place slowly. All the carbon done, pretty happy how it went. Pretty much went where I wanted to. We've got a Tamiya black panel line wash now. This is an enamel-based wash over our lacquer paint, so they don't react together. And all I'm doing is touching it into the panel lines, let the capillary reaction carry it. We'll let it dry. It takes about 30 minutes to dry. We'll get a cotton bud with some Santador from Winsor & Newton, which is an odorless mineral spirit, and we'll give it a wipe over and remove the excess later on. I think it's an important step, panel line washes. I think it adds depth to the model. Some people don't agree with that, but stand back and look at a real car, and it looks like you can see the panel lines on the doors. They look darker than the body. You don't have to go as stark as black. You can always use grey, whatever. But I think it's an important step to do. Like I say, wipe the excess off with a cotton bud with some odorless mineral spirits on, or whatever you use to get your washes off, and then use a tissue to get the excess off. Now, one thing I will say, and I've done the mistake many, many times, is when you think you're done, put it back down, go do something for 5 minutes, come back, pick it up, and I'll almost guarantee you'll find something you've missed. I do it all the time and end up missing pieces, so it's well worth checking later on. Now, we've got some textured Napa Black, which we're going to use on the interior. Now, okay, I've got ahead of myself here. So this is the normal Napa Black on the backs of the seats. This is Pro Scale Napa Black leather. What we're going to do is going to paint all the backs, and then the fronts we're going to do in Napa, and then we're going to mask off and spray the insert of the seat in the textured. So the seats and the dashboard are all the Napa Black, just our standard leather colour. So this is like a dark, really dark grey black colour. It's my favourite leather interior colour for the cars, and it's on a lot of my models. It's definitely one of our best sellers in our leather range. So just several light coats and everything. We've masked up the centre of the steering wheel as well. Just really take your time. And then the seat, as you can see, we've masked off the centre and using our textured, I think it's a textured Napa Black. We're going to have textures. So this has got a medium in it. When it's sprayed, it adds the texture of the seat, makes it look like real cloth. Absolutely brilliant. We do a whole range of colours, and I can literally do any colour in this. So if there's a colour on our site you want textured, just let me know and I'll add it to the range. So spraying this 20 psi, a little bit of distance, let it dry, and it dries beautifully textured. Unmasked it, we've got an orange decal to go down the centre of the seat, so exactly the same decal procedure as before. Get it set in place, get the moisture out. Just make sure you're happy where it is before you commit to the decal solutions, because there's no going back once it starts getting set in place. And as always, a little bit of heat is your friend, and we are going to matte coat these later on. We'll use some Tester's dual coat to matte it all. That way the decal loses that sheen and matches the seat. Decals for the steering wheel as well. We've got several on there. Quite a lot of decals for the interior on this, and it is a really, really nice interior. So again, standard procedure, get the moisture out, set them in place, a little bit of heat, a little bit of decal solutions, and you're good to go. Hobby Design decals that come with the Alpha kits are some of the best decals you can get, in my opinion. They always lay down absolutely flawlessly. Never had a problem with them. They are by far some of the best on the market. Now, 2K, we've let that dry overnight. A couple of days, actually. We've had the body and the dehydrator to dry the decals out a little bit as well. And here we are, 2K. So we've got the Pro Scale 2K system, R2K, which is the best, in my opinion. And we're going to mix this 2 parts clear to 1 part activator. I'm a little bit off camera, I do apologise. So if we put in, say, 10 ml of the clear, 10 millilitres, we're going to put in 5 millilitres of the activator. Now, we're going to use a fresh pipette for each chemical. We're not going to put the pipette back in the bottle once it's done, because you'll contaminate it. And once you're done with the pipette, throw it away. So we'll put the activator and the clear together, stir it together, and then we're going to thin that mixture by 0.5% with thinner. So if we've got a 15 milliliter combined clear and activator, 0.5% of that would be 0.75 milliliters of thinner. Very little thinner, but it makes all the difference. Now, because the activator can dry a bit crusty on its rim, nobody likes a crusty rim, we are going to strain this for a paint strainer. We sell these on Patreon. We sell these on Pro Scale as well, so you can come over there and get those. And again, it's an invaluable step to do. We're going to clean up the body with our Tamiya anti-static brush, and then using our Iwata CR5, which is our Revolution 0.5mm airbrush. 20 psi, we're going to lay down a nice semi-wet coat of 2K clear. Now, this footage is all sped up because, again, you've seen me do this a million times, but I always like to show for anybody new to 2K. Like I said, we're going to lay down a couple of base clear coats here. And there's a reason for doing this that become apparent at the end. So a nice semi-wet coat all over. And like I say, we've let these decals properly cure for a couple of days at room temperature, and I chucked them in my dehydrator at 50 degrees C for about half an hour just to get any moisture out. If you get moisture behind your decals and then clear coat it, it can bubble up and look absolutely awful. And in fact, if I own up, my spoiler bubbled up a little bit because it must have had a little bit of moisture in it still. But it is what it is. So we're going to lay down a semi-wet coat of 2K clear here. We're going to let that flash off for 5 minutes and then come back and do another one. And then at the end one, we're going to thin the 2K a little bit more. And that thin coat will self-level beautifully over these 2Ks we've previously laid down. So there's a method to the madness. We've got all the other parts to do as well. The spoiler, the mirror, the door handles, everything. And as you can see, we've got a little box to the left. That's where everything goes in between coats to keep the dust off it. And we're ready to go. Now, safety precautions, I'm always going to mention these. Make sure you've got a good respirator. I've got a full face 3M 6500 with the applicable A2 filters. I got my bench vent spray booth. I am double gloved on that left hand. And I also have full length arm gloves on each hand arm as well. I'm in the room of my own, and I'm going to vacate the room when I'm done spraying. I'm not going to sit in there while it off gases, and that's how I recommend everyone should use 2K. Don't use it around family or pets, and don't sit there yourself. And for the love of God, make sure you use a respirator. Please do. So we'll let that flash off for 5 minutes, and we're back now for our second coat. Loads of people always ask me, can you leave the 2K in your airbrush? You can. It's not going to dry in your airbrush. It will take hours to dry as a bulk load in your airbrush, so it's perfectly fine to leave in there. And we're doing near enough exactly the same as we did with our first coat, just laying down a nice semi-wet coat. Focus on getting the coverage and all the areas and nooks and crannies rather than trying to get a full gloss coat. That's not what we want to do. Because we let that first coat tack off for 5 minutes, it goes super sticky, unbelievably sticky, and that's what allows us to spray the wetter coats later on, because they don't run then, they stick. So this is the groundwork we're making for our final coat, is these two tack coats working up to our wet coat. And again, let that flash off for 5 minutes and do all the other bits, the spoilers and whatnot while we're at it. While they're flashing off for a minute, we're going to thin what's left of the 2K another 10%. So I'll put what's left in the airbrush back in the old cup, and then what's left in the old cup into a new one, so I can measure it perfectly. So if we've got 10 milliliters of combined 2K left, we're going to thin that 10%, so we're going to add another milliliter of thinner. Now, while this isn't a lot, it drastically changes how the 2K sprays. It really, really does. It will make it self-level a lot quicker, and with those two base coats we did already of 2K, it's going to level out absolutely beautiful. So again, we're back at it, and coming a little bit further back away from the model with this coat, we're going to spray it on, nice light even, well, a nice even coat all over, and then we're going to come back and use the light as an angle, and we can see what kind of a finish we've got. Now this should look like glass when it's done. If there's any imperfections or any orange peel or ripples, put a little bit more 2K down. 9 times out of 10, if it's not like glass, it needs more 2K. Now, it will self-level really quick here. It shouldn't take any more than 60 seconds to level out. So get a coat down, use the light, angle it, and just look. It should look like glass. Now, what we'll do when we're happy is we'll pop it back in that box where we do the spoiler and mirrors, and then we'll have another look, and it needs a little bit more. Don't be afraid to give a little bit more. How it looks when you're finished here is how it's going to dry. So it's very, very important to ensure you get it exactly how you want it. Another important fact as well, using the mixing cups, make sure they are medical grade shot glasses, not shot glasses, medicine cups. Don't use cheap shot glasses. The plastic can melt with the lacquer and it will ruin your 2K. And don't use syringes, use pipettes, because the syringes are silicone lubed and that can interfere with the 2K. If you're getting bubbling in your 2K or your 2K is going cloudy, it's more than likely either cheap shot glasses, syringes, or your activator's gone. 3 reasons. So get rid of the cheap shot glasses. Decent quality medical grade cups are not expensive and they're well worth it. And there we go. With a quick inspection, I'm having a look around. If anything else needs a little bit more of a spray, we'll give it. If not, it's going back in that box for 3 to 4 hours. It'll be touch dry after that, so you can have a good look. And it'll be ready for polish in 2 to 7 days. Depends how long you want to leave it. I like to leave it 7 days. And as always, if you want to become a patron, there's a link in the description down below. You got all those perks shown on screen. You get early access, discounted pro scale paints, a bench update every week. And without the patrons, I couldn't do these videos. And there we go. So thanks for watching today. I'll catch you in part 2 next time. And as always, thank you to my patrons for their continued support.